Alright, Bruchim Aboim, welcome everyone. Forgive me if my voice sounds a little strange. I tested positive for COVID, which I have never done before. Every time I've taken probably 20 COVID tests over the last, 4 years or so. And this is the first time ever came up positive. Everything's coming up Millhouse. But it is still Wednesday, and so every Wednesday we try to learn a little bit from. So again, it's Wednesday. We like to learn Elimelech. So let's learn V'yikach, Korach, and Korach took Targumay Isplig. So Targum renders that Korach took as Korach divided. Or he made not more than divided, he made a division within political division. Nearly, so says the Heilige Elimelech, seems to be hektim, the first pasuk, Yehi Rekia b'seichamayim. In order to understand this properly in this homiletical sense, we should first understand what the verse says in Genesis, and there was a firmament in the midst of the waters. You know, this is the big question people have in the world. Why is there good and evil in the world? Why are there good people and bad people in the world? God doesn't want there to be evil people, and all the evil stuff is because of the evil people. The reason is nobody's perfect. The wicked are not perfectly wicked, and the righteous are not perfectly righteous. The Bible tells us, I believe in Ecclesiastes, might be in Proverbs, I'm not sure where the verse is offhand, because I have COVID. There's no righteous person in the land who does good and does not sin. Nobody's perfect. And nobody's perfect. So the reason why there are wicked people is in order to avoid the kitrug, to avoid the what do they say, kitrug, the prosecution against the saints. The saint needs to fix the worlds, not just this world, the higher worlds. This is a very fine spiritual work, fine-tuned service. Just like you don't, we're going to see, just like you don't understand light until you understand darkness. It's through the wicked that we can recognize and be cognizant of the righteousness of the saints. King Solomon writes in Proverbs, as is the superiority of light against darkness. What is light adding to darkness, so too is the superiority of the wise to the fool. So the Mefarshim, the commentaries explain that we understand the good qualities of light through darkness. So too, when we see a fool, we can understand how much better a wise person is, a sage is in his wisdom. So when the Satan comes to prosecute, which is his job, and he sees how evil the wicked are, neged tzaddik, and compares that to the righteousness of the saints, the saints chose life, that the saint uses his free will that God gave him, and he could have chosen the opposite. So many choices exist in the world, and we see other people make the bad choices. So even if the righteous is imperfect in his righteousness, when you compare him to the other wicked people, so he's not so bad, right? And it's a very true thing, People understand they're not perfect, they understand, but there are certain things that they would never do, right? And people do those things. There are people who do the worst things in the world. We could never imagine. I know these people. I work in a prison. I know people who've done the worst things in the world. And in comparison, the bad things normal people do are not as bad. It's very simple. Oz Nustampir Mulakatre Goid Olaf. And the Satan shuts up. He's not going to prosecute someone because it's compared to this guy's okay. The good guy's okay. So perush Yerkiva Sechamayim. So that's what it means. Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. And there was a firmament in the midst of the waters. Or let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. It's a leimer. It means to say tzaddik shnikar b'shem Rekia. The saint is the archetype. The archetype that represents the saint is the firmament. Shemadakas ruchnius, because of the thin spiritual nature, flattened out. Lashon miraku pachidazov. The word firmament, Rekia is the Hebrew, means something that's like flattened out, like when gold is flattened out into very thin sheets. Shi'olei koyach, v'saken olei Torah kadesha. You should have energy to rectify through the Holy Torah. Nikras mayim. The Torah is called water. The Torah is compared to water. God's word is compared to water. V'mavdil ben mayim al-mayim. V'mavdil ben mayim al-mayim, and it's separated between one water and another water. Klamer al-ken hochach is hevdil ben mayim al-mayim. So that causes, because of the saint, which is represented by the archetype of the firmament, it causes there to be division between one type of water and another type of water. Then if she is tzaddik, that there would be a saint. But also a person has permission and free will to be the opposite, God forbid. But the wicked also has a portion in God's word. He also has a portion in the Torah. The Chazal say, the Gemara in Chagiga, that the empty people are filled with good deeds, with mitzvos, with fulfillment of commandments and precepts, and connections to God, in the same way that a pomegranate is filled with seeds. Nonetheless, and it's true. We see these people, they did horrible things, and some of them still put tefillin, and some of them still say Kriya Shema. There was a story Meir Kahana was a Gevena Voile Yid. I might not agree with his politics, but Sof Kol Sof is Gevena Voile Yid. He was sitting with a certain Yid who changed his name, for where he was or whatever, and he would always use his original name and this and that. And I'm not going to mention who I know who it was, but the Rabbi Kahana said to this Yid, "You're a self-hating Jew." And then this Yid, he said, "Rabbi, I say Kriya Shema every night before I go to sleep." So it's such a Yid like this. This is Michal Shabbos, Mistama Chasna Gehad, Gemischte Chasana, Wer weiß, was a Gatin. A very famous person. I don't want to mention his name, I don't want to say bad. Sof Kol Sof, he said Kriya Shema every night before he went to sleep. Meaning for thousands upon thousands of nights, he said Kriya Shema was Mekayim Mitzvah Seder of Kriya Shema. Even if he didn't say in the morning, we say at night. This is thousands and thousands of mitzvahs. Like a pomegranate filled with seeds. We don't know. But still, Sof Kol Sof, even the Kahana, compared to that Yid, he is an Orm and a Choshech. Kahana, Sof Kol Sof, was a Shomer Shabbos. He was a Shomer Kashrus. He davened 3 times a day. He learned a lot of Torah. He did a lot of Chesed. All right, so he had some crazy ideas about Zionism. And he was the most intellectually honest Zionist that there ever was. Still not 100%. Because Zionism is not an intellectually honest pursuit. But he was moida that the Satmar of Shita was also a kosher type of Yiddishkeit, just he disagreed, respectfully. But the point that I'm bringing out is between Meir Kahana and this guy who was on CBS Sunday nights. So the tzidkus of Rabbi Kahana, you could say tzaddik, your people say zeichem, tzaddik, maybe he wasn't such a tzaddik for Kodesh, but compared to that Yid, he was a tzaddik in the Kodesh, right? Compared to me also, he was a tzaddik in the Kodesh. Anyway, so if the Satan looks at Rabbi Kahana, Hashem Yimkom Damai, who was with Rabbi Akiva because he died as a martyr, and this other guy, I'm not going to mention, there's no kitruk against Rabbi Kahana, And Yachal Shuv L'Katrik Olav. Yachal Had Tzadik Liv Hulfulasei. The Satan can't prosecute, and the Tzadik, the saint, can do what he needs to do. Get his work done, Kanal, as we said above. Is that the end of that Torah? Is there more? V'zeu. And this is a meaning, V'zeu Perish, this is a meaning of Pasuk V'nasati Kafracha Mitzrayim Kushus Svatachtav. So this is the meaning of the verse. Let's see that so both of those were from Ecclesiastes, not from Proverbs. So I didn't know we had here English. So in Isaiah 43, it says, "I give Egypt as a kofar," means a redemption, and Ethiopia and Sava and Seviu. Kafrachu miloshin kfirach v'chet chas v'shalom. But kafracha, which here it means a kafir nafshay, that's the plain meaning of the verse in Isaiah. That's an atonement instead. and then Ethiopia and Seba against you. This here it says Kafrecha doesn't mean the atonement instead, but rather of heresy, denial, sin, God forbid. Because if the saint, he stumbles a little bit in a very light sin, like we said above, compared to this, God created the wicked people. Like the Egyptians and the Ethiopians and the Sabians in the world, who worshipped all kinds of idols in the ancient times. Talking about the ancient people, I'm not talking about now that they're Muslims and Christians. They're all monotheists like us. But we can compare nowadays to the Cubans and North Koreans and the Chinese and the Vietnamese, all the communists and the Democrats and the Labor Party and the whoever else. All the wicked people who are pushing all kinds of evil in the world openly without any shame. Not to say even by tzaddikim, by good people, there's also people do bad things. But it's not their whole life. It's not their whole mission. It's to spread evil. It's all right. They fall. They have problems. Nobody's perfect. But compared to the bad people and to the Hamas and all the other bad people, and Hamas, they're not real Muslims. They're more influenced really by the communists, and certainly the PLO, the PA, whatever they want to call them, Fatah, also influenced more by the communists than by any hadith or sunnah. So through this, there's no energy for the Satan, for the prosecuting angel, the prosecuting attorney in heaven, to prosecute the saint. That's why it says underneath you. It means that they're conquered under your feet. Meaning, since the Satan's words, his mouth is sealed shut, and automatically they're conquered and pickled underneath the feet of the saints. All the heathen nations and all the heathen and atheists, they're all under the feet of the saints. So we kach Korach. That's what it says in Korach Tukum Visplig. So it means that he made a separation. He made a political party that separated and had division and created a schism. He was a schismatic. So also Chaluk of Hevto, that he made a schism and the separation. Surely they Rishasei and he could sit because Aviv Shayat Tzaddik Gadol. That through the wickedness of Korach, that he recognized the righteousness of his father, Yitzhar, who was a big tzaddik, he's a big saint. And that's also why his father's name mentioned. Usually you don't mention the father's name in such a case, but it was necessary because it was, even though generally say if a child goes the wrong way, makes the father look bad, but we see how much better the father was than the son, so it made the father look very good. We could say the same thing about Elimelech, the son who didn't live the way he lived most of his life, and the tshuva at the end. But the greatness of Chizkiyahu is not diminished in any way by that. love Chizkiyahu Melech. I love King Hezekiah. Anyway, the Kalahavan. It's easy to understand. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. We'll see you later. I would learn more, but it's a little too difficult. All right. We love you guys. We'll see you later.